There are some goals that are so important or require such significant change that simply trying harder isn't going to get it done. If you have one of those important goals, if you are dedicated to getting breakthrough results, this approach is for you. For example, if you're trying to finish a degree, if you want to achieve an ambitious sales goal, or compete in a marathon if you want to lose 50 pounds. The challenge that we found is usually not one of capability, believe it or not. It's not that people are lazy, it's not that they're stupid, it's not that they're incapable. The problem is they're busy. The real challenge is not in achieving a breakthrough result. It's in achieving a breakthrough result in the middle of a 100-mile-an-hour whirlwind. And to do this, we have some good news and some bad news. The good news is there are rules for doing this. The bad news is there are rules. We call those rules disciplines, and there are 4 of them. When you hear them, they're going to seem very simple, almost obvious, but we assure you they are the key to achieving breakthrough results. Discipline 1 is focus on the wildly important. And what that means is to select a single wildly important goal in addition to everything else that has to happen in your life. Think about when you achieved something truly significant. How many things were you focused on? What we know is that focus is the first irrefutable law of execution. There are 2 key aspects to the first discipline, and to help you remember them, they both begin with the letter F. The first we've talked about, that's focus. The second is finish line. The wildly important goal has to have a finish line. You have to know how you've won. The easiest way to do that is to put it in the form of from X to Y by when. For example, you wouldn't want the goal of eating better, right? Even if that was really important to you, there's no specific finish line associated with that. So you might think of a result associated with eating better and define the goal around that. For instance, lowering your cholesterol from X 240 to Y 190 by the end of the year. If you wanted to lose weight, you wouldn't just say lose weight, you'd put it in the form of going from 225 pounds to say 175 pounds by March 1st. A sales goal might look like going from $1 million to 1.8 by the end of the year. It could be something as simple as completing my advanced degree by next spring. But in every case, there's a specific finish line. For people to really succeed, there's a switch in our heads we call the game on switch, and we want to throw the game on switch. The first discipline of execution requires that we narrow the focus and define the finish line. Discipline 2, act on the lead measures, is the discipline of leverage. The wildly important goal that you identified in discipline 1 is like a big, heavy rock. It's like a big rock because you haven't moved it yet. Discipline 2 is all about identifying the lever that we're going to use to move the rock. If you've got a rock, you're going to need a lever. And all levers share 2 characteristics. First, you can move a lever. It's influenceable. Unlike the rock, it moves. And second, it's predictive. You can predict that when the lever moves, the rock is also going to move. Those are the same 2 characteristics of a lead measure. If we stayed with the example of losing weight, going from 225 pounds to 175 pounds, if that was the big boulder, if that was the rock we had to move, what's the lever? What could we measure that is both influenceable and predictive of weight loss? If you said diet and exercise, you're on exactly the right page. We can influence our diet and our calories burned, our exercise, much more directly than we can influence weight loss, and it is predictive of weight loss. Now, you may at this point be saying to yourself, wow, this is brilliant. How do you guys do it? Are you telling me that if I want to lose weight, I should diet and exercise? That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is, there's a huge difference between knowing that we should diet and exercise and knowing how many calories we've eaten and how many calories we've burned. The only people that know that data are the people that are losing weight. Everyone knows that if you want to get good grades, you have to do homework and you have to study for exams. Everyone knows that. What they don't know is how many hours their child spent last week studying for exams or what their child's current homework average is. The parents that know that are the parents of excellent students. Discipline 3 is keep a compelling scoreboard. It is the discipline of engagement. It's what keeps us in the game. People play differently when they are keeping score. If you were watching a group of kids play basketball from a block away, could you tell, even if you couldn't hear them, just by watching them, whether or not they were keeping score? What would you look for? What would give it away? Would there be a change in intensity? Would there be more celebration? Would they be more likely to play by the rules? If they're keeping score, you're going to see all that and more. There's a huge difference in people's behavior. There's a huge difference in your behavior when you're keeping score. The characteristics of a compelling scoreboard, a scoreboard that's going to keep you engaged, are fairly straightforward. First, it has to be very simple. Second, it has to be visible. Third, you've got to see both the lead measure, the thing you're acting on, as well as the results you're hoping for. And finally, just by looking at it, you have to be able to tell whether you are winning or whether you are losing. What you've done is you've turned that goal, that breakthrough result, into something that feels like a game. There is no greater driver of engagement than feeling like you're winning. Discipline 4 is how we play that game. Discipline 4 is the discipline of accountability. Create a cadence of accountability. This requires a weekly rhythm of public accountability. It will require you to recruit a coach or a partner, somebody that you will feel accountable to. And you'll need to visit with this person every week for at least a few minutes. This is one of the reasons why it's essential to pick a wildly important goal, because we are talking about a serious commitment here. It's best if this meeting happens at the same time every single week. During this meeting, there are 3 things that need to happen. First, report on the commitments that you made last week. Every week, you're going to make a few commitments to move the lead measure. The second thing you do is review and update the scoreboard. Finally, make a commitment for what you're going to do to move the lead measures next week. There's a reason that we call these the 4 disciplines of execution. These are not the 4 good ideas of execution or the 4 interesting concepts of execution. These require discipline, but we can tell you with complete certainty that this delivers results, breakthrough results. In the words of Jim Rohn, we must all suffer from one of 2 pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And we really like the pain of discipline.